Hello, everybody. Molly here. Welcome to our fifth training call. Pretty exciting. This is one of my favorite topics to teach. So I'm really pumped for today. As you guys know, we're talking all about targeting. So the beginning of this session is going to be more educational. So how you should really think about targeting. We're going to go through a worksheet that I created that you guys can use to help figure out the targeting for your Facebook ads. And then we're going to move into the over the shoulder portion where I'm actually going to set up live the targeting for a few of the examples we've been using throughout the course. So hopefully that's helpful to not only learn, but to also see it in action. So really the goal by the end of this call is that you feel prepared to go and to figure out the targeting for the at least 3 campaigns that we planned on last week's call. So I'm just going to really quickly check the questions box. Looks like you guys can hear me. We got a lot of people on today. Thank you guys for staying so engaged. Really excited about today. So thank you so much for being here. Hi, Brian. Hi, Dirk. Hello, everybody. Okay, so let's just dive right into it. Can you guys see my screen? I think you can, but just to double check there. Alrighty, great. Awesome. Okay. So the reason that this is so important, targeting, basically, who are we going to show your ads to, right? And there's, of course, cold traffic, which is reaching new people who have never heard of you before. That is the most important aspect of targeting, is making sure that your cold traffic targeting is really, really dialed in. The re-engagement monetization, so retargeting of people who have already been in your business's ecosystem, that's a lot easier. That's pretty much just setting up some audiences, which we're going to talk about today. But what's really, really, really important is how well you are able to do your cold traffic targeting. Because think of it this way, you can build the best campaign in the world, right? Have really great ad copy, creative, and awesome offer. But if you put it in front of the wrong people, it will fail. And it's so true. Targeting is something that I see a lot of people, they just don't do enough. They're sort of lazy with the targeting. And the campaign fails not because the actual campaign is bad, right? Not that the ads are bad, but it's because they didn't spend enough time to really get into the mind of their audience, to do research, and to really leverage Facebook. So, targeting is really about being in tune with your avatar, right? Basically, who wants to buy your product and why? And that's a pretty big question to answer, right? But who wants to buy your product and why? Really, I think being able to answer this question is what makes someone a really good marketer, right? So whether it's through experience, you've been selling your product or service for a long time, and you just know the type of person that wants to buy and why. A lot of this can come through experience. Some of it can be like intuition or just connection to a market and understanding their needs, or understanding really who needs your product or service. But a lot of it is research, right? Being able to answer this question, who wants to buy your product and why? Really, the best way to figure this out is through research, and that's what we're going to talk a lot about today. So things have really changed in marketing, especially since the dawn of the interwebs, right? A lot of recent developments, and we now, and I talked about this on the Q&A call Monday. We really now have an opportunity as marketers that's never existed before. But unfortunately, I think that most marketers don't understand that. They don't take advantage of what's here. A lot of it is because it's kind of hiding. So we'll talk about that a little bit in terms of when we hop into Ads Manager. But again, a lot of it is that most marketers aren't willing to dive really deep to actually figure out everything that they can about their avatar and about the market that they're serving. Facebook has so much data, guys. So does Google. I mean, that's really why the internet is so beneficial to marketers, is because, of course, everything can be tracked. People are spending so much time on the internet. People are spending so much time on Facebook, and Facebook is collecting data basically based on almost every move that someone makes on Facebook. So we have this opportunity that we've never had before because, not to sound creepy, people have never been tracked in the way that they are now. People have also never expressed themselves on platforms like the internet where that can be documented, right? If you loved a band 50 years ago, you talked to your family and friends about it and maybe put a poster up in your room, but you weren't posting about that on the internet. There was no way to really specifically market to you because you were interested in a certain type of music, right? So the amount of data that Facebook has, and because of the internet, this is such a huge opportunity, and it's really so much different than it even was 5 to 10 years ago. And I'm just spending time on this, guys, because I want to make sure that you understand just the opportunity that we have here and how incredibly important this is. So I talked about this on Monday's call, but I think something to keep in mind now as modern digital marketers, right? Because we do have so much of this information and so many opportunities in terms of targeting, we don't have to describe our avatar or the market that we serve simply by their demographics any longer, right? So normally when you ask a business owner, okay, who's your avatar? What market do you serve? They say something like, oh, a white female over the age of 50, right? That makes, $150,000 a year and has 2 kids. They're describing someone based off of demographic information, kind of what you can see. But it's really basic information that really tells me nothing about that person, and what they want to purchase, what they think about every day, right? Back in the day when we just had print ads and we just had billboards, being able to describe our market and our avatar by demographic information like that was really all that we had, right? Or maybe I sell to older people, right? I hear that a lot, and it doesn't mean that it's not true, right? It doesn't mean that your avatar might not look like the person that you're describing, but I'm just asking you to dig a little bit deeper when you're talking about and thinking about your avatars and the markets that you serve, because that is how you're going to be successful with Facebook advertising, Google, YouTube, everything online, because they have so much more to provide than that basic surface level description of someone, that really shows no purchase intent at all, right? So like I said, we know so much more about people now than just their age, gender, and how much money that they make. And it's something that I like to describe as demographics versus intent. So that's demographic information. It's okay to keep in mind. It's really not something that I ever use in targeting, no matter what I'm doing, unless it's a really specific case. Like I own a business that sells retirement services after someone retires. So I literally can only serve people, over the age of, 45. There are special scenarios like that where demographics do matter, but for 99% of businesses, the way that you should be thinking about your avatar really comes down to intent, right? Not what they look like, not how much money they make. What are they interested in? What is their intent in life? What is their intent day to day, hour by hour? What are they doing? And that's really what we're going to be talking about today. So I like to hear people describe their avatars and think about their avatars as things like this person does yoga 5 times a week, right? Or they read Rich Dad Poor Dad. Maybe that's a really specific indicator of your market for some reason. Or they want straighter teeth because they hate how they look in photos, right? Maybe something like they need a new car. It's time for them to get a new car. They attended South by Southwest, right? This is an activity that they like to go and participate in. This says something about my market. My market is the type of person that would attend South by Southwest. That's a very descriptive way to talk about who this person is, and it's going to allow you to reach them on Facebook in such an easier way. They follow Gabby Bernstein, right? Maybe that says that they're spiritual or they enjoy meditation. They're interested in canning to save food for their family, right? These are all just random descriptions, but I just want to give you some examples. We have a worksheet and ways to work through this, but I just want to get your all's mind thinking really deeply about these avatars. So demographic versus intent based ways of thinking about who you're marketing to. It's a really powerful distinction to make in your business. So our goal is to figure out your avatar's intent, right? Who is this person? What is their intent in life? What are they doing, right? And to get in front of them on Facebook. That's the goal of this call. Really, it's to, I always say, discover where your avatar is hanging out on Facebook, right? Where is this person? And specifically, where are they hanging out, right? Whenever we go through the exercises we're going to go through today, if you think they might shop at Walmart, that is not a good indicator that is a strong enough case to make that we would want to target something like Walmart, right? I want to be very, very specific as we can, and really try to answer the questions that I'm going to ask you guys in ways that, wow, only my market would want to shop at this store, right? So later on, we're going to talk about an avatar for someone, a woman who's really worried about the environment, really eco-friendly, right? So what type of stores would she shop at, right? Probably some really specific health stores, right? She wouldn't shop at Walmart, but a health store would be someone that really only someone that is aware of environmental issues or wanting to take care of their body would shop there, right? We want to get very, very specific. I'm going to show you a ton of examples, but it's really, really important to keep in mind. This is something I came up with when I was a digital marketer, but this is a good way to think about it. I call it the "but no one else would" trick. So when you're asking yourself questions about your market, and this example is for golf, I want you to say things like, you know, a blank enthusiast, whatever your market is, like a golf enthusiast would know who Bubba Watson is, but no one else would. And what I mean by that is that at the time that we created this, Bubba Watson was a successful but not very well known golfer, right? So if we're wanting to target avid golfers, this is a great example of what specificity looks like. Most people in the golf market, they would go and first say, oh, we've got to target Tiger, right? He's the biggest golfer ever. There's going to be a ton of golfers following him. And although that might be true, there are also a lot of other people that don't play golf that follow Tiger because he's famous, right? Or because he's been in the news for things other than golf, right? Like my grandmother might like Tiger just because he's a public figure. That doesn't necessarily, Tiger is not the best person for us to target, especially when we're starting out to reach golfers, because there are so many other people around that interest that may have nothing to do with golf, right? Non-golfers. In the middle here, we have casual golfers, right? So a step in would be someone like Phil Mickelson, who is not as famous as Tiger, but still pretty famous, right? I may target him, but the person I'm really trying to target is Bubba Watson, the person that really you would, at the time we made this chart, you would have to follow golf really closely to know who this person is,
right? So when we're asking questions of ourselves, I have a worksheet with like over 30 questions that will help us exercise our brains to then choose our targeting for these campaigns. But if you can always think of, what's a store that my market would shop in, but no one else would, right? What's a book that they would read and no one else would? That will really help you with the specificity aspect of this, which is so, so important. So just wanted to cover that. More on this to come a bit later in the presentation, but first, let's learn. So I'm gonna just double check the questions box, make sure everybody's doing okay here. Alrighty. I've got a few people saying that something's wrong with my mic. Can you guys hear me now?
Okay, I think that my handy dandy microphone got unplugged there. Okay, is this much better? Okay, everyone's saying it's heaps better. Well, darn it, guys. I hope that wasn't going forever. That was a good part of the talk. Did you guys hear me though? Do I need to go back over anything? It was clear. Don't worry, it wasn't too bad. Okay, awesome. No problem. Okay, great. Is everyone good to keep going? You guys liking this? Alrighty, sounds awesome. Gonna open these slides back up here. Okay, so I'm just gonna quickly explain the landscape of targeting on Facebook so that we're all speaking the same language and we know what's going on. So as we talked about last week, Facebook's they structure their campaigns so that targeting is set at the ad set level. So a lot of where we're going to be in Ads Manager today is at the ad set level, figuring out our targeting. So just so everyone knows where we are. And when you're in Ads Manager, and I'm actually just going to pop it up here. When you're in Ads Manager and you're setting up an ad, this area under audience is where all of the magic happens. And I just want to quickly give you guys a little tour. So this custom audience box, this is where all of your retargeting audiences are going to live, right? So I've got a little slide. Anything warm, hot traffic used for re-engagement monetization, that's going to live under custom audiences. So you can upload customer files like actual Excel sheets or CSVs of customer data that you have. So that could be an email list, that could be a customer list. This is also where you can set up retargeting for people who visit your website. Lots of fancy things you can do in terms of getting really specific based off of website behavior. We'll talk more about this later. App activity, no app people here, but you can create a custom audience of people that use your app. There's a category called offline activities. So you can actually upload a list of people who have purchased from you, and Facebook will try to match that against your Facebook campaigns to see basically if any of the purchases that were driven offline were affected from the Facebook campaign, which is really cool. And Meryl, you actually asked a question in the Facebook group today, offline. This would be really good for you. So let's talk about that. And then the last one is engagement. So the ability to retarget people who engage with your Facebook page, like your Facebook page, engage with any of your Facebook posts, your Instagram page, any of your Instagram posts, and anyone who watches your videos, right? So under the custom audience area is really where we're going to set up all of our retargeting. Guys, the warm, hot re-engagement monetization, retargeting, whatever you want to call it, that is easy peasy. I'm going to talk about it later in the session, but it's really not that hard to get a hang of. It's super simple. So I'm not going to spend as much time here on that because I really want to cover as much as I can about cold traffic. But I just wanted to quickly go over that, and remember that is your campaign 3 that we talked about last week, and I'll show today.
But also under custom audiences are lookalike audiences. So you can create audiences of people. Okay, so also under custom audiences are lookalike audiences. These are audiences that you can create. These are for cold traffic. But basically, with a lookalike audience, you're telling Facebook that you want an audience of people that are most like a data point that you have. So, for example, you could create a lookalike of your email list. You could create a lookalike of everyone that likes your Facebook page. You can create a lookalike of all types of things. I'm actually not going to recommend anyone use lookalikes unless you're currently having success with them. Facebook changed the type of data that they're giving lookalikes in the past few months, and they've become very weak. So I want you guys to learn how to not rely on lookalikes and really do interest targeting. But if you want to use lookalikes later, great. And we will talk about them more when we get to the scaling part of the course. So that's what's up with this box. Custom audiences, all of your retargeting audiences. Like you can see for this client, I've got all site visitors, 180 days, people who watched a certain video. You know, this is where my warm and hot audiences are hanging out. Of course, you can target people by where they live, either people that are in a location, who live in a location, recently in this location, traveling to. I always do everyone in this location, unless for some reason for your business, you would want to use another one of these. Like, for example, I'm sure anyone with a hotel or a travel agent or someone in travel would love to use people traveling in this location, right? But I recommend using everyone in this location unless for some other reason you feel differently. With age and gender, guys, honestly, unless, like I said, there's a real reason that your product or service can only be sold or would only be sold to a certain age range, I pretty much always just do like 22 and above, right? People that have, discretionary income. I always like to keep this open because you really never know. Like I talked about on the Q&A call on Monday. For gender, pretty much same thing. You'll see as we get into actually doing this for Be Friendly, the skincare company, I am going to just do women because the marketing is very much for women. But you'll see, of course, for Code and Quill, I'm going to keep gender completely open. Languages, I never type anything in here. You can leave this blank. And this is really where the magic happens down here, guys, under detailed targeting. And what's interesting is when you hit browse here, there are demographics, interests, and behaviors. I never use really anything in any of these categories, right? Other than on special occasions that we'll get to in a minute. But what I use, guys, are actual interests, right? So there is an interest category here, but these are pretty lame. And the problem is that a lot of Facebook advertisers don't know that they can just start typing in a word, right? And that there are literally hundreds of thousands of interests that Facebook has indexed here based off of different topics people are talking about on Facebook, different Facebook pages. There is no rhyme or reason that Facebook has released as to how they choose these interests, but most people don't even know they're here. And if they do, they don't take the time to do the research to try to find interests that are really specific to their market. Because I guarantee you guys, your competitor is not doing this, right? Your competitor is going in here and using, whatever categories because they think that this is all there is, right? Like for yoga, we have someone selling yoga products here. Your competitor is probably just checking this yoga box, and that's the only targeting that they're doing. And everything that we're going to go through today is going to put you a step above those people. So for our cold traffic campaigns, I highly recommend living in this box, and I highly recommend not relying on any of these drop downs here at all. Use the process that I'm about to teach you. This box, I always leave this unchecked until we get to the scale phase. I'll talk more about that. And then under connections is where you can target people who like your page, friends of your page. So this is a warm audience targeting option. So today we're gonna live very much here in the detailed targeting. So I just wanna make sure that everyone knew where this was, where it lived there on Facebook, and where just really how it functioned. So how do we figure this out, right? How do we figure out what interests you should target in your business? And of course, it's all done through research. The research tools that I use, you'll see me use here in a minute to figure the answers to the questions I'm about to ask you, to figure those out. I told you, of course, relying on experience. Like, by the end of my tenure at Digital Marketer, I didn't really have to do any research on the market because I was the market. And I had been running ads for so long, I just knew the market, right? But there are a ton of tools that you can use if you need some extra insight. And I recommend, even if you've been selling this product for 20 years, please follow this process because you're going to find a bunch of things you never knew existed. So really simple, Google Audience Insights, which is a tool from Facebook that I'll talk about, reading Amazon reviews of products in the market or your competitors' products. So for example, back to the yoga example, if I was really trying to get in tune with that market, I would go look at reviews for yoga mats online. What words does this market use? What do they care about, right? Who are they listening to? You can learn a lot about a market just reading Amazon reviews of products in that market. Same thing with forums or community discussions. Join Facebook groups. Look for online forums. I was trying to target dentists once, so I joined a dental forum just to see what are they talking about, what are they struggling with, what words are they using. This is a really good way to get into the head of your avatar. So just some tools for you guys to use here. Okay, so we are about to go into the research process, and here is the worksheet for this. And having these as uppercase is really important, or it won't work. So bit.ly/uppercase TMTP5A. And I'm going to go ahead and pop that here in the questions box for you. All righty. Yeah, Forrest said Reddit seems like it might be a good place to get into the head of an avatar. Yeah, that is a really, really good point. There's so many different ways. Those are just my favorite. Okay, is everybody has the worksheet open now? Good to go. Trent said, FYI, movement picks up on audio easily. Sorry about that, guys. Yes, okay, awesome. So what I want you guys to do, not right now, because I'm going to explain everything to you, and you will do this after the call sometime in the next week. But for the 2 avatars that you decided on last week, I want you to do this research exercise. Now, every question that I'm asking is not going to apply to every business. That's why there is so much on here. But the goal here is that this exercise, whether you're filling this sheet out based off of experience, intuition, whether you're using Google, however you're getting this information, going through this exercise is going to give you a really good idea of what cold traffic targeting that you should be doing. So, of course, at the top we have avatar name. And then the first question that I'm asking is, where can you sell your product or service, right? Because this is obviously very important with targeting. If you're a local business, in Austin, you're a restaurant, it's like, hey, I can only sell my product in Austin. If you're selling an info product, you can sell, maybe you can sell worldwide, right? Maybe you can only sell your physical product in the US. This is just important to make sure you identify because, of course, location is a big part of your targeting. I also just want to make a point for anyone who owns a brick and mortar or a local business. What is really great about that, unless you're in a huge city like New York or LA that has millions of people, the good thing about having a local business is that you don't really need to rely on interest targeting because your audience size is so small. What is specifically unique about them is that they live in Austin, Texas, right? So if you are in a bigger city, feel free to overlay some bigger interest. I'll talk about this a little later if you're a local business. But if you're in a place that has basically under 300,000 people, pretty much the targeting that you need to use is just by location. Or for example, Patricia, you're targeting women who are engaged, all you need to do is target that area plus that gender, right? And maybe use the interests around being married or engaged, but make sure your audience size, isn't less than 5,000 or so. So I just wanted to cover that really quick. But no matter what, you want to fill out where you can sell your product because that tells you what location to use. And then I split this up into 3 sections. And these are really the way that I think about an avatar, right? And how I think about a market, right? That you're wanting to serve, that you're wanting to reach. If we can answer at least some of these questions, we're going to be able to find some really awesome interests. So I've split this up into this first category is product and service consumption. So one of the first things that I ask myself when I'm wanting to reach a market is what else are they buying, right? So back to the yoga example, what other items or information or services is this passionate yogi purchasing, in my market, right? And from whom are they purchasing those items? So this is, the really the most basic way to think about an avatar or a market. It's like I want to sell them, this product or service that has to do with this part of their life or this specific topic. What other things are they buying in that same realm, right? And I'm going to go through this live with examples here in a minute, guys, but I'm just running through here really quick so you understand it first. And sub questions that you can ask yourself that relate to product and service consumption. What tools does your avatar use in your market? And tools can be many different things. But for example, the tools for yogis are their mats and their clothing and everything that someone who does yoga would use to practice yoga, right? Social media managers, the tools that they use are more online, right? They're using Hootsuite to schedule social media posts, right? Your market might not necessarily use tools, but some of yours do, right? So again, if this doesn't apply to you, just say NA right here. But what tools does your avatar use in your market, right? What brand makes these tools? So you better believe when we get in a second, we're going to talk about targeting photographers for Code and Quill. Well, obviously a tool that the avatar uses is a camera, right? And then I like to think, okay, so what brands make those tools, right? And just listing out as many that I can think of. What online stores does this avatar shop in? Again, that might relate, but it might not. But it's a great question to ask yourself. What in-person stores do they shop in, right? Who are your competitors if you have competitors? Who are your competitors? They can make very great interests to target. Or who are the big brands in this market that are also selling to these people? What apps is your avatar using, right? This is a great way to think out of the box. For example, I have a client in the Christian market, and I just found a cool app that sends daily Bible verses. I found it just through research of the market, and it was like a 2 million person audience that I can now target. Even though I'm selling them physical products, and I would have never have thought of, oh, what Christian app is out there. It's like, wow, that's an amazing interest that most people in that market have not thought to target, right? But it's because we're going through these list of questions and asking ourselves, what software are they using? If that's applicable, what else are they buying in your market, and what brands make those products or services, right? So what I mean by this is I really want you to think very specifically in these first few questions. Like, for example, with the yoga market, we would be listing out really specific tools that people use for yoga. But when we start to think, what else are they buying in the market? Well, people who like yoga, they probably also, might purchase a meditation app, or they might have a meditation pillow, right? This is kind of where you can get a step outside of your market. And these questions will really come in handy when it comes to scale later. So this first section is really about what other things are they consuming in the market and from whom, right? Because if we can get in front of people who are already buying products in this market, right? And if they're buying products, they're probably also following brands. These are going to be a really avid part of the market that are probably going to want whatever you're selling. So the second section here is community and congregation. This is another way to think about your avatar in the market that you're serving. And really the question is, are there communities in your market? Does your market congregate online or offline? It might be yes or no, right? But most of you are probably going to say yes. Even if you're selling a toothbrush and it's a commodity product, you guys have picked out two avatars. So maybe one of your avatars for this toothbrush is a mom. You ask yourself, are there communities in your market? Do moms congregate? Heck yes, they do, right? In a lot of different ways. So this is another way to think about a market. Are there communities? Where do they congregate? Because if we can go there, that's where they're hanging out. So I ask myself questions like, what in-person events does your avatar attend? And an event can mean so many different things depending on your market, right? For marketing, it's conferences. For dentists, they go to I'm losing the word, but it will come back to me. Golfers, they have golfing tournaments. Seminars, yes, dentists go to seminars. People who love jewelry and fashion, they go to like pop-up shops, and they go to different parties around fashion. They go to Fashion Week, right? That's an event in the fashion market. If someone loves something enough to attend an event about it, they're probably a really avid part of the market. So what in-person events does your market have? What online events does your avatar attend in your market? What online forums, message boards, Facebook groups are they using, right? What associations are they a part of? What clubs are they a part of, if that relates to your market at all? What buzzwords or keywords does your avatar use? What do they talk a lot about, right? So these are all really great questions to ask yourself to get in front of this market where they are congregating, right? And to understand the language that they're using and what they're talking about with one another, because some of those keywords might be interests on Facebook, right? So back to the Christian example. Some buzzwords that market uses are, prayer and faith and God and Jesus, right? Those are all interests that I've been able to target now because I use this sheet to actually write out buzzwords and to see if those were interests in Facebook. And then the last one here, and this may or may not apply to everyone, but content consumption. Is your avatar consuming content about your market topic, right? Yes or no? If yes, what medium and from whom, right? So what blogs do they read? I had a client in the keto market, and the best performing interests that I found were from content consumption, because something like the keto diet, people are researching, right? They're following influencers, they're wanting to learn more about it. So I targeted top blogs, right? Top books that this market would read, magazines, TV shows, movies, right? What Facebook pages do they follow for entertainment or education, right? Back to like the movies, back to the Christian example, when I Googled Christian movies, there were so many I'd never even heard of before that were interests in Facebook, right? And then what influencers, educators, entertainers, celebrities, influential people are they following in your market, right? Who else has your market's attention? Right? And a lot of these can be done through quick Google searches. But content consumption, if you can get in front of them where they're consuming information about, that shows they're your avatar, that shows they're a part of your market, those can be really, really, really powerful interests. So is this making sense to everybody? Do you think this is cool? Of course, I'm going to go into examples, and I've got a little bit more to teach you all, of course, but I just wanted to check in with everybody. Alrighty, cool. It seems like you guys are liking it. Awesome. Okay, great, guys. Kara says, I'm a little confused with the local biz. So you recommend no interest targeting. So for my paleo meal biz, we should just open it right up to Vancouver. Yeah, Kara, Vancouver's a bit bigger. I would try one of your ad sets with just everyone in Vancouver. And then I would try another ad set with everyone in Vancouver, but overlay a really huge paleo interest. Like I'm pretty sure paleo is an interest. I think I've targeted it before. And yeah, no, not that one. Let me see. Kara, I can get back to you on a big one that I found, but if you can find a large interest to overlay with Vancouver so that your audience size isn't, below 5,000 people, it'll give Facebook enough to work with there. So RTM said the paleo diet. Yeah, I didn't see the size on that one. That's 122,000. I'm not sure if it would be enough. Kara, you could also just type in paleo and add all of these interests that pop up here, as long as they're relevant. And I would overlay that with Vancouver in the other ad set and see how it does. So alrighty, back on track. No problem there, Kara, at all. Okay, cool. Alrighty, hopping right back in here. And something else that I wanted to cover quickly, I didn't put it on this sheet, but if you guys like it, I can have Brittany create another sheet for this. I do want to address another type of targeting that is out there. I really recommend avatar targeting because it allows you to really know who you're speaking to, right? Like moms. You can get so much more in depth with your ad copy. There's so much more emotion that you can speak to when you know the avatar, right? And when you know exactly who you're reaching. So please, please, no matter your business, follow this. But there's also another type of targeting that you can use, especially if you're selling a commodity product. And what I mean by commodity is something that everyone knows, what it is, or something that everyone needs, right? So like a toothbrush, like we talked about earlier, I still recommend you targeting, moms and maybe people that are really health conscious. But you could also use triggering events. I know we have someone on here selling sports hats. I still want you to get into the head of that sports fan, right? Which is so fun and easy to do on Facebook, I'm sure. But you could also use triggering events. So a um, uh, triggering events create windows of opportunity where your prospect is far more likely to act. And if you have a commodity product, these are easier, I'm sorry, the commodity products are ones that have windows of opportunity, right? Also, if you're a business like a plumber, right, and you're like Molly, most of my business is reactionary, right? I have to wait for something to break for me to show up. That is also a triggering event. So triggering events create windows of opportunity where your prospect is far more likely to act. So think, what event would trigger someone to purchase, or to want to purchase, or to have the need, or to have the problem that your product or service solves. So here are some examples of triggering events: a job change, right? Birth of a child. A birth of a child definitely is a moment in time that your consumer behavior is going to be very different. I have a client that sells pregnancy clothes, and triggering events is the most important targeting for us because everything revolves around this one event happening, right? Marriage could also be, right? For example, Patricia, that is, with your ring offer, marriage is a huge triggering event. Divorce, birthday, anniversary, major system failure, their AC broke, or their CRM crashed, right? And they're looking for a new one, or their pipes are leaking and they need a plumber. A holiday coming up, although this is pretty overused in marketing, of course. Graduation, aging, right? There are so many triggering events that cause people to do something, but this is just a different way to think about your market, right? So this is less about what they like, who they are, what they're reading, and more about what happened in their life that now makes your product relevant to them, right? What triggering events? So, for example, let's imagine that. Oh, and really quick, I wanted to show you guys. This is the only time that I do use some of the options here in the browse section, and I want to show you where this is. So if you are wanting to do something like this, or one of these really, really relates to your business, like you're selling pregnancy clothing, you can go under life events here, and there's a ton of cool stuff. So anniversary within 30 days, right? If I was a flower company, I'd definitely be targeting people with anniversaries coming up, away from home, away from hometown, date of birth, right? Upcoming birthday. They also have this friends of category, which is really cool. So Omari, I know you're selling jewelry. This would be a great triggering event, right? Close friends of women with a birthday in 7 to 30 days. Hey, grab this, necklace for, make your friend feel really special on her birthday, right? Friends of newly engaged people, newlyweds, right? Long distance job, new relationship, newly engaged. Patricia, these are great for you. Newlywed, recently moved, right? And then there's a parents category if you're trying to reach people that are parents for some reason. But I just wanted to show you guys that this was here. Again, I really, really prefer doing more avatar-based targeting. It's more scalable. But I did want to talk about triggering events a little bit here, just so that you guys know it's there. And just a quick example, say you're selling suits, right? Some triggering events that could cause someone needing a suit is graduation, right? Parents of kids that are graduating, right? They might want to buy a suit for their son. People who are entering the workforce and they want to look and tip top. Young professionals that need a new wardrobe, need to grow up, right? 20 to 30 somethings who are going into wedding season. Wedding season's coming. I need a new suit, right? That's a triggering event. Businessman might think, wow, I really need more suits for traveling, right? So just a little example for you guys to think about this. Maybe even, a birthday is happening and we're wanting to target, the spouse of men and try to get them to buy them a suit as a gift, right? So just let me know, make sure everybody's with me here. I just wanted to make sure that I covered triggering events, especially for you guys where that applies a little bit more. Alrighty, Omari says, sweet. I love you. Omari says, love triggering events. Therese said, would events work for me since people get their nails done for events, wedding, prom, to stand out? Hell yeah, Therese, that's really smart, right? Especially if you want to, that's a great message. Stand out, look great for your wedding. I absolutely love that. Alrighty. So I'm getting lots of questions about like specific things for your business. I want to make sure that I might have to run even a little over today, guys, because I just want to get this all in. Of course, this is always recorded. I don't know if I'm going to have time to take specific questions, but after we get through all of this and you have time to do your research on Monday, that feedback call, that would be perfect. And I could do some, live research for people, and of course the Facebook groups there. So, okay, everybody doing good, ready to move on. We're about to move into back to our over-the-shoulder brands that we're using throughout the program. And I'm actually going to do this entire process that I'm asking you to do for them, which I will tell you guys, I have not done any research on these markets. Like, I didn't do research beforehand because I wanted you to see in a very raw way exactly how I do this. So this might not be super polished from a presentation standpoint, but you're going to be able to see exactly how this goes down. So does that sound good? You guys still with me? You can hear me? Everybody's great. Anybody need a bathroom break? Just making sure you guys are still here with me. Okay, cool. I'm going to take a quick sip of water. All right, let's do it. Okay, so let's do this live. I'm so goofy sometimes. Thanks for staying with me, guys. So if we remember, for Code and Quill, our notebook company, the avatars that we listed on our sheet were tech creatives, developers, designers, photographers, entrepreneurs, marketers, architects, and cooking enthusiasts. For these first campaigns that we're launching, we decided to go with these two for multiple reasons. Definitely check out the last call if you missed that. During this call, I'm only going to have time to do the research for one avatar for both brands. So I picked photographers for this one. So it's going to be really, really fun. I'm excited. But just to remind you guys of Code and Quill. And for Be Friendly, we had eco-conscious women and mothers. So for this one, I decided to go with the eco-conscious women as the avatar we're going to do live research for. So step one in all of this, guys, you have your avatar. Step one is absolutely simply research. So let's do this for our photographer friends, and let's remember what we're doing. This is the campaign with a 10% off discount on the notebook. The avatar is photographers. So next week we're going to talk about a lot about ad copy. These ads are going to be really specific to photographers We got a daily budget. Objective is conversions, and we know our success metric. But I just wanted to remind you guys, the goal of this is to acquire new customers, right? That's what's happening here. So the way that I'm going to do this is I have the worksheet open here, and so what I'm going to do, I've got Google open, and I also have a Google Doc. Now, usually for me, this is a sheet of paper, like a notebook that I have next to my computer, but you guys can't see that. So we're just going to use a Google Doc for now. And basically, this first research step is we're not really even thinking about Facebook yet, right? We're simply thinking about this worksheet that I gave you, and we're using this Google Doc as a way to just list out as many answers to these questions as possible, right? This is just complete brainstorming. So let's get right into it for photographers, and just check back in with you guys. Everyone cool with me here? You understand what I'm doing? All good? Cool. All right, just making sure we're not losing anybody. Alrighty, so our avatar name here, of course, is photographers, right? That's who we're trying to reach. Where can you sell your product or service? So Code and Quill can sell pretty much in any country. So I'm going to say worldwide, right? Yours might be different. You might only be able to sell in one place. That's okay. And then let's scroll down to product and service consumption. So again, our avatar is photographers. Our market is this whole, photographer market, people that are buying different products and learning about photography so that they can become better photographers. So let's dive right into this first section here. What else are they buying, and from whom in your market, right? So what tools does your avatar use in your market? Okay, so we obviously have a camera, right? Maybe a tripod. And this is how I first try to just think of this, right? Like I said earlier, either based off of experience or intuition. It's okay to start writing a few things down here, but you also want to utilize Google. So, a great Google search for this is, top products for photographers. And we can learn a lot that we probably didn't even know. You could also do this on Amazon, of course. So we've got this planner. And guys, the biggest key to this research process is knowing what to select out, right? You don't want to write down everything you see. Like this planner, that really has nothing to do with photography. I don't know really how I feel about that. And I don't even know if this is going to be a good article for us, but we're going to see. So it looks like these are, okay, so we've got a camera leash. So that's something that I hadn't thought about. So camera straps, leash might be another word for it. I've never heard that before. I'm not a photographer though, so I'm just writing it down. Okay, I don't really know about, okay, business advice, no. Animoto, so yeah, I know Animoto. I'm not sure just photographers are using it though. A lot of marketers and people are using it, so I'm gonna move on. Yeah, this is honestly kind of a lame article. I'm wanting like real stuff that people are gonna buy. So let's click here. So we've got a portable studio. That would be hard to target. Okay, we've got lighting. I hadn't thought about that. So lighting kit. All right. Let's see here. All right, lots of lighting kits and panels and okay, I do know something else that photographers are using is software for editing, right? So think about the process of being a photographer. They'd go and take the photos, right? So for that, they need camera, tripod, camera accessories, lighting kit. So what do they do afterwards? Let's look at top software for photographers editing wise here. So best photo editing software. Whoa, this is a complete, looks like this is a little honeypot here for us. So I want to make sure though that something like Photoshop, I'm not sure I would do that because it's not specific to photographers. So I'm not really seeing anything that's super specific to photographers. So I'm just going to write down photo editing software. That might help later, it might not. We'll see. Let's go up here. Okay, Photo Mechanic, right? That sounds pretty cool. It sounds like it's just for photographers. So top software just for photographers. Let's do this. Photo Director 7. And if I had more time, guys, which by the way, doing this fully, honestly, you could spend anywhere from an hour to 10 hours on this sheet for each of your avatars. We obviously don't have that time here, but you see how one thing leads to another also, right? So you might write something down and you're like, oh my God, that's really good. I want to dive more into softwares. Or, if we had all the time in the world here, I would honestly go in and research every one of these to see which ones are pretty much only made for photographers. So let's see, Adobe Lightroom. It says it's trending among photographers. So, okay, this could be a good one. I'm a little worried that it's not just for photographers, but we'll put it on the list anyways. Phase 1 capture, lesser known photo editing tools. Okay, this one could be good. Phase 1 capture 1. All right, we'll keep scrolling. Paint Shop Pro, probably not the best. Photo Director. That sounds like that could be a good one. Okay, so let's move on from this one. I like it, but I think there are better questions for us. So, what tools does your avatar use? We've got a camera, a tripod, camera straps and leash, lighting kit, photo editing software, Photo Mechanic, Adobe Lightroom. So these are all sort of underneath this. And usually I would do something like this so that I could just keep it a little bit organized, but really, again, we're just sitting here brainstorming. So what brand makes those tools? So this is completely different. Top brands for photography equipment. Okay, so let's look here. Okay, Nikon, Canon, these are all really good and very specific to people that own cameras. So even typing in top camera brands for professional photographers, I'll even add in a little extra there. Okay, cool. It looks like we're getting similar. 10 best cameras for professionals. Let's see what these are. Scrolling down. All right, Canon, Fujifilm. I hadn't thought about that. Okay. Nikon, we've already got that. Panasonic, Pentax. Probably not going to put Sony. They sell so many different things other than just cameras. So we're going to leave that. Okay, so let's put top lighting kits for photographers. I want to see who makes these lighting kits. All right, let's click here. All righty. Not sure who makes this though. I'm gonna keep scrolling down. Limo Studio, Studio FX. Okay, so it looks like this doesn't have the actual brand names, more of the product names. So I'm gonna keep scrolling. Let's check out this one here. So I'm just gonna click over and see who makes this. This one keeps coming up a lot. Okay, so it looks like Limo Studio is actually a brand. So we're gonna write that bad boy down there. Studio Pro. So let's see who makes this guy. Fovatech. All right, we're gonna. Oh, that wasn't what I thought. Fovatech. All righty. And we've got ePhoto. Let's check this one out. That's made by ePhoto, so that could be a really good one. Okay, so you could see, guys, I could go down a huge rabbit hole here, right? So top camera straps. Let's check this out. Who is selling these? So best camera straps in 2018. Let's check this out. If you're a photographer, you're definitely buying camera straps. So we've got Think Tank camera straps. So let's view that. So it looks like this is made by Think Tank. So we could write that down. Let's look at Spider camera holster. This is made by Spider. Let's see what Spider is. Okay, it looks like Spider sells a lot of different things, so we're probably not going to go with that. We want people that are pretty much just selling to our people. But again, you guys see how much of a rabbit hole that could be there. I would go into even you could go into who makes the photo editing software even. For these first two questions, you could spend an hour on, right? But we already have some really good things written down that are going to translate nicely into interests. So what online stores do they shop in? So top online stores for photographers. Let's see what Google tells us. This is about selling top 10 stores to buy cameras from and which is best. Okay, this could be a really good one. But it looks like many of them aren't specific. Okay, Adorama, more than a camera store, but it looks like they're really speaking to photographers there. KEH camera. All right. Let's write that down. All right, moving on here. Photo and videos, Hunt, Sammy's camera, Kenmore camera, Precision camera. I'm not going to write down Best Buy. That's too broad. That's a Tiger Woods there. So we could definitely keep going on this, guys, but I'm gonna move on for time's sake. But you can see how far that could go in both senses here, online stores or in-person stores. There are still people buying cameras, not online. So who are your competitors? So for Code and Quill, because this avatar is photographer, but we're not competing against these types of companies that I wrote down here necessarily, right? Like we're not selling camera gear, so we don't really have competitors. So I'm gonna skip that. What apps are they using? Photographers probably. Oh, Google's so smart.
Wow. Okay, there's a lot here. So we've got VSCO. This is a good one. Visco. We've got, okay, Snapseed. That's just for photo editing. Awesome. We've got Facetune, photo editing software. We've got Flickr. That's a great one. Instagram, Google, those are a little bit too specific. Yeah, I'm not gonna go with that. Let's go back. Let's go back. Top apps for photographers. Ooh, this is great here. All right, we've got this guy. All right, not gonna do Google Earth, not gonna do Scene Scout. Pocket light meter, that's really great there. Okay, again, this is a question we could just go on and on about, but I'm gonna move on from that one. What software are they using? We pretty much already covered that. What else are they buying in your market? So for this, I mean, we could go really in depth to other things that photographers are buying. That's where Photoshop, maybe some of the softwares that aren't as specific to photographers, but could be really relevant, that could come into play. With photographers, I mean, we've already got a lot to work with, so we can come back to this. What else are they buying in your market when it comes to scaling these campaigns? So I'm going to move on for time's sake. But you guys can see just from this first section and spending very limited time, we already have a really good research list rocking and rolling to target our photographers here. So I'm just going to check back in on the questions box with everybody, see how people are doing. Full frame cameras are usually what the pros use. Awesome. Everybody good to go? Just someone pop a message in here so I know you guys can still hear me. You're alive. Yes, okay, all good. Is this helpful for you guys? Do you want me to speed up a little bit? Or let me know if there's anything that would be a little bit more helpful for you guys. Yeah, speed it up. Okay. Never thought I'd know so much about jewelry. LOL. Yeah, you learned so much. Okay, guys, sorry for going slow. I just want to show you how meticulous I usually am with this. So, okay, community and congregation. So are there communities in your market and do they congregate online? Yes, photographers absolutely congregate. So what in-person events does your avatar attend? So let's do top events for photographers. And this is really where we get to a very avid part of the market here. So we've got Stephen Green. Okay, we'll write him down. It looks like he has some events and could be an influencer in the market. Okay, these are people. These are not looking like events to me. Okay, this is even better. All right, on these, you're gonna have to really, there's almost too many here to write these down. So we're gonna go back. All right, let's see if we can get some more out of this here. Photo London, Photoville, Photo Book. Okay, these could be really good. Photoville, Photo Book. Okay, let's just look a little bit more here. Top 20 event photographers. No, that's not what we're looking for right now. Oops, sorry guys. Okay, we could go deeper in this, but for the sake of speeding up, I'll move on. You guys can see how important that one is. What online events does your avatar attend? I'm sure there are online summits and people doing online trainings for photography. Those would be great to go research. I'm not going to do that now. What online forums, message boards, Facebook groups are they using? This is almost there for you to list them out so that you can go join them to really get in the head of a market. But you know, that's as simple as, you know, top forums for photographers, right? And look, we've got a whole list here that I'm just going to write down really quick. Canon digital forums. These are really, really good. Digital Grin, Photography Corner, Photography Corner. And then we've got, I don't know how I like about that, but I mean, look at all of these guys, top communities and forums for photographers. It looks like Pixie is going to be a brand that we're definitely going to want to target here because their ranking when you search for things around photography, really smart to think about. Photography Talk, I bet they have an audience on Facebook. So what associations are they a part of, especially if you're more B2B? That's important. I'm sure that top photography associations, I'm sure that yeah, there are a ton here that we could absolutely write down. Professional Photographers of America, right, et cetera, et cetera. So much to work with here, guys. This is exciting. What clubs are they a part of? Same thing, that could be a Google search. What buzzwords or keywords does your avatar use? We don't really have time to do that today, but that would be done through searching the online forum. I always try to write at least 5 or 6 out here. So I'm sure that buzzwords for photographers are things around lenses and editing, and I'm not a photographer, so I would have to do a little bit of research, but those keywords are also always really helpful to try to type into Facebook to see if you can get a really cool interest, right? And a lot of these up here count as a keyword or buzzword. And then content consumption. Is your avatar consuming content about your market? Definitely photographers are. So what blogs, books, magazines, TV shows? Wow, so much to work with here, guys. Okay, we got photo focus. We have Joe McNally. Let's see who Joe is. Okay, it looks like he's an influencer. We definitely want to write Mr. Joe down here. Let's click into the best blogs you should be reading, because most blogs have, they have a following. F-stoppers. Don't know what that means, but it sounds fun. We've got DP Review. We've got Petapixel. That sounds pretty cool. We've got Creative Live Blog. They do other things, but I am going to write that down. Creative Live. We have Retouchist, No Film School. So I would go and vet these a little bit more, of course, guys. But a lot there that we can go with. Okay, yeah, there's so much more here to work with. Same thing, guys, with magazines, right? Photo magazine, outdoor photography, outdoor photographer. Oops, sorry, I clicked the wrong thing. Photo magazine, outdoor photographer, outdoor photography. Let's see what else we've got here. I love when these come up. Photo District News, amateur photographer, outdoor photographer. Let's see if there's anything else here. Digital Photo Pro, interesting. Definitely like that one. We've got, all right, we've got more, but I'm gonna move on here. What magazines do they read? What TV shows do they watch? I don't really think there are TV shows for photographers, but if that makes sense in your market, Google it. Movies, definitely something I would skip for this one. What Facebook pages do they follow? So for this, what I usually do is I'll just go to Facebook and start, typing in the word photography, seeing what big pages exist, and then seeing what other pages, are most similar to those, right? So that's basically researching through Facebook, which we already have plenty to work with for photographers here. So I'm not going to do that right now. And then what influencers, educators, entertainers. So I do want to do this one because this is very important. Top photography. I'm going to do teachers and see what comes up because I want to make sure it's people that are really teaching. So we've got famous photographers down here. These could be really, really good. I'm going to write a few of these down because photographers like to follow leaders. Everyone likes to follow leaders in their market. I've seen Annie come up a few times, so I'm going to write her down here. And then I'll write one more down, Chase Jarvis. Okay, awesome. And then of course, if you guys want to think about triggering events, this would be the moment that you would think about that too. So I'm not going to use any for this specific campaign, but something that I could do is, I might be able to target people with birthdays coming up, or I'm sorry, friends of people with birthdays coming up in the next month. And then also overlay a photography interest there. But I'm just going to stick to interest targeting for this one. And again, guys, usually I have 5 to 10 times these because I'm a nerd. But also, we're not going to use all of these right now. And not all of these are going to match up as interests in Facebook. So we want to have as many as possible in case things don't match up, or in case when you go to scale, you can always come back here to this list. So that is the research process, guys. So step 2 is interest matching, is what I call it. And basically, we need to take this list and now go and see what's actually available here in Facebook. And what I do is I go in and I start to type these in. If they don't exist as an interest, I just erase them, right? Or cross through them because I'm writing these down. If they do exist, then I'm going to write next to them what the audience size is, how big that page is. So I'm going to go through, and I'm not going to do this right now because it's very time consuming, but I'll do a few of them so you get a feel for it. But I'm doing interest matching to see how many of these match up. So let's actually start at the bottom here because I actually like the ones, I think these are really specific to photographers. I think a lot of these bigger brands at the top are good, but I want to start with true specifics. So let's see if Mr. Chase, there he is. All right, so we've got Chase Jarvis. And what I usually do, so we've got 154,000 people there, and it's okay to leave it 150K. Okay, awesome. All right, let's go check out Annie. Yeah, she's got a following too. We're 2 for 2 here. All right, we've got Thomas Heaton. Let's check him out. All right, looks like nothing there. No big deal. He's just gonna come off. All right, let's try Digital Photo Pro. And the best part about this, guys, is as you start to type in
things like this, you're going to see other interests that you probably want to use. So I initially typed this in to look for Digital Pro Magazine. Heck yes, it's an interest that's 36,000 people, so we're good to go there. But also along the way, I found digital photography. Now this is really huge. This is 30 million. I'm gonna write it down, but I'm not going to use it right off the bat because it's just very, very broad. It's very huge. Digital photo frame doesn't really make sense. Digital photo magazine. Okay, that could be really cool. Digital photo magazine, 27K. All right, let's check out outdoor photographer here. And I'm just going to go ahead and select that one. Outdoor photographer, that's 8 million. Sweet. Probably not going to use that one right off the bat, but we can use it later. Outdoor photography is 30,000. Really awesome. Alrighty, then we've got Outdoor Photographer Magazine, which I was looking for at 283,000 there. Really awesome. I think I doubled up here a little bit. So I'm just going to do a few more here so you guys can see. But this is the process. Erase what isn't there. Allow yourself to go into a bit of a rabbit hole if you find something also. So let's look up here at like a photo book. All right, so let's start typing in photo. So we've got, see, Photoshop is just too big. It's too much there. We've got photo booth, we've got photo books. So there it is. That one's 10 million. So that's not bad at all. That'll be a great one to use later. Let's see if we can find anything else that maybe we didn't plan. Photography, photographer, I would write those down, but that's almost 800 million people. That's a lot of people, and it's probably not just avid photographers. And then of course, you're gonna get a lot of keywords like this. Again, write them down, put their audience size, but most of these are a bit big for us to use right off the bat. Photographic filter is at 9 million. Probably only people that actually take photos care about that. So photographic filter, that was at 9 million. That's huge. Okay, awesome. So you guys can see exactly how this goes down, right? I would do that for everyone. For the sake of time, we're already at time. I'm willing to stay on and finish this. Sorry, this is long, but it's just a process, guys. If you've got to go, we'll definitely have the recording. But I'm gonna move forward to the next step now. Is everybody with me? Everybody doing okay? Chad said, love this light bulb, perfect light bulb moment for me. This is so good. I like to see how your mind works. Cool, guys. I love that. Therese says for nail techs, targeting top nail tech schools. Does Facebook target for that space in a person's profile or job? Hell yeah, Therese, that's a great one, because what do nail techs have in common? Hopefully they all went to school. Chad said, why do we write down the audience size on our notepad? You'll see that in a minute. Okay, awesome. Let's move on to the next step here, guys. So step 3 is going to be interest selection and grouping. So basically, hold on just a second. A lot of this will have to be done based off of your gut. Like when you are going through these interests and you know that all of these are available inside of Facebook, well, we're not going to be able to target all of these people, right? We only have 3 ad sets that we're needing to cover. So let me show you how this translates into the actual targeting that you're going to select. So a lot of it will be based on your gut. A lot of it's based off of audience size. So for cold traffic campaigns, unless you're a local business, I recommend that each of your ad sets targets between an audience size of between 500,000 and 7 million. I've just found this recently to be the sweet spot of where Facebook can really optimize. So what we're going to need to do the interest selection and grouping, right? Because remember, again, we've got 3 ad sets here that we're trying to get, 500,000 to 7 million people in. Well, now I have to go and select which interests I actually want to use. I will tell you, I do like to err on the side of either brands, right? Or going with things like photographic filter. That's only something that a photographer would really follow. Probably photo book, the same thing. All of these we have down here, I really like too. So what I'm gonna do, and not so next week we'll cover ad copy. The following week we'll cover creative. And then week 8, we're actually going to build our campaigns together. So we'll talk about all the other fun things that we have to do here. But what you're wanting to do is you can even just open, I always have this open on my computer, this audience section, because I'm always fake building and doing audience research. So what I would do is say, okay, we know we've got ad set 1, we've got ad set 2. We're not going to use these now, but I'm going to go ahead and make my selections so I know exactly what my targeting is going to be. So let's start here, Digital Photo Pro. So ad set 1, basically what I'm going to do is just go in and start typing the interest that I want to use. And I'm noting this potential reach over here on this side. This one's a little big, but I might come back and use it because I didn't have enough time to do as thorough research as I wanted. But let's come back to this. Digital Photo Magazine. Let's use that. All right. Outdoor photographer, I do think that's going to be a really good one because you have to be a photographer to want to learn about outdoor photographers. So we'll also do this magazine here. Now we're at 1.3. Let's also do outdoor photography. Okay, so we're at 1.3 here, guys. I feel good about this. We're over 500,000. I'm gonna leave this as is. So this is gonna be ad set 1 targeting here. Alrighty, now let's move on. And a great way to do this if you're having trouble finding interest is using this tool called Audience Insights, because what we can do is put in some of the interest that I hate that it cuts off here. No, that's not what we wanted. Digital Pro Magazine. Okay. Alrighty, what else were we using? Let's do Digital Photo Magazine. So this is another great way to do research. Now we're going to click over to pages liked, and Facebook's going to tell us interests most related to those. So there are already some really good ones coming up. Sigma Corporation, what is this? Ooh, this is all about cameras. So let's see if Sigma shows up here. I'm just worried because it doesn't say photography. I'm worried that some of these Sigmas might be for a fraternity or sorority. So we're going to skip that one. We've already got that. Shutterbug magazine. That's a really good one. Cool. That's an interest. So we're going to add that to ad set 2. So I'm just showing you, I could go back to this list, guys, and use more from here. But I just wanted to show you an alternative way to do this, just so you know that this is available to Professional Photographers of America.
Hell yeah. Let's see if that's, I see professional photography blog. I saw professional photography women. I saw a magazine. So we're going down a rabbit hole here in a great way. Yes, the Professional Photographer of America is there. Well, oh, I typed wrong. Photographer of America. Awesome. That's 1.9. So the other one was 1.3. I do like to mix it up a little bit when I can. So this one is considered small in our range of 500,000 to 7 million. So I'm gonna try to get this one up a little bit higher, just so that we can test some different audience sizes too. Adorama, let's see what this is. Oh yeah, we had already written that down. It's cool. Everything starts to come back. Adorama. Awesome. 1.5 million. Heck yeah. Okay, that really bumped us up. Interesting. It's probably to do with Instagram here, which I'm going to want to target. Yeah, it has to do very much with Instagram. So that's a little big. I'm gonna back down from that one. No, thank you. I don't want to go that big. Photography Club, Nations Photo Lab. I didn't think about photo labs. That's a definitely a part. Awesome. There it is. Let's see if that helps. 3 million. And then let's just add one more in here. Borrowlenses.com. Okay, that seems cool. Let's see if, heck yeah. Okay, so we're at 3.1. I'll leave that as is. And then I'm just gonna go in and paste these guys here so that I've got everything. All right, and then ad set 3. Let's see what direction we want to take this. I'm actually going to go back here and remove this outdoor one, and I'm going to put professional, because I think these professional photographer ones are really strong. Ooh, okay, $1 million photographer. That probably sounds like a blog. Let's get some blogs in here. $1 million, not there. Pixie set. Wonder what this is. And I'll even go back to beautiful client galleries. Hell yeah. Pixie. No, it doesn't look like it's there. Let's go back here to some of the blogs that we found. Or let's put some of these famous photographers in here. All right, Chase Jarvis. Let's see. Ooh, Behind the Shutter. That's probably a good one. That sounds like a blog. Behind the Shutter. Nope, not there. That's okay. Part of it. Modern Lens, Rangefinder magazine. There you go. Sometimes they're all one word for some reason. So always try that. Photobacks. Let's see what this is. Okay, yeah, definitely a resource for photographers. Alrighty, not showing up, no problem.
let's see here. All right, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna type rangefinder to see if we can get some new info. And these are also can be um, very helpful here. KEH camera. Let's see if that shows up as anything. Nope. No worries. So we got a long way to go here. So this could be a great time for me to use one of these bigger interests because I do want something a little closer to 7 million. So let's try just digital photography. It's a little broad, but it's good to test some of these. Okay, so this is at 9.3. It's not that far off. I'm actually just gonna leave it. A few million people isn't gonna be a huge game changer here. So we're gonna leave this one and test one with a bit bigger audience size. So for this one, we've got 9 million people. So this is the process, guys, for cold traffic and interest targeting. Of course, I usually am a lot more thorough and take a lot more time, but now you see my process for this. I hope this was really helpful. We aren't finished yet, but I'm definitely not going to have time to do this for the eco-friendly avatar for Be Friendly. I just didn't know how long this would take, and I really wanted to show you guys the process. So I'll shoot a video on that, guys, and make sure that we get that to you by the next session so that you can see me do this in real time for another brand also. But really, step 4 is building the ad set and launching, right? So all I want you to do now is just make a little document to where you have these handy, because during week 8, we're just gonna pop these right in, right? You're gonna have your copy done, your creatives, you're gonna have, however many ad sets you have, you're gonna have your interest ready. So I don't need you to actually go in and launch the campaigns yet unless you're ready to. But really the biggest goal here, this is just further planning for your targeting. So based off of how many ad sets you have and all of that fun stuff, this is exactly how this is done for cold traffic, guys. And you see how important that research process is. So quickly, what about warm, hot traffic campaigns, your retargeting campaigns, right? We're setting up at least one of those. So this will definitely depend on your current assets because it's retargeting people that interact with your brand. So if no one's ever interacted with your brand, you're obviously not going to have these assets yet. That's okay. But if you do, then this is a time to think about who in my business or who in this ecosystem do I want to retarget with this offer and with these new campaigns that I have. If you don't already have assets and audiences that you can retarget, basically what you're going to do is your retargeting campaign is just going to play off your cold traffic campaigns. So when you start running those cold traffic campaigns, that's what's going to help build the retargeting audience for this retargeting campaign, right? So obviously, if you're not running traffic yet, you won't be able to build that. But if you do have current assets, I want you to go ahead and start thinking about what your audience will look like. So for example, with Code and Quill, what I'm going to start with is really simple for this retargeting campaign. We are going to, which we went over last week. What I'm going to do is for this campaign, all in the same ad set, I'm going to target all site visitors in the last 180 days, their full email and purchase list, people who have engaged with them on Facebook, Instagram, and people that have watched videos of theirs in the past. And I'm actually not going to exclude anybody here, even purchasers, because this notebook is something that you can buy again, right? So for over the next week for your retargeting campaigns, if you have assets of people that you can start retargeting, with these new campaigns, I want you to start building those audiences. If you don't, do not worry. We will cover this in week 9, the week after we launch our campaigns, when we talk about DPAs and when we talk about how to directly retarget the people that are coming in from cold traffic. But for now, for example, when we start running these ads, people are going to visit our site and they're going to become a site visitor in the last 180 days. So these cold traffic people that respond to these ads will become a part of that other campaign. And then we're going to set up some more extensive retargeting that we're going to talk about later. But just really quick on that, guys, remember all of those are created here. So I'm in the process for Code and Quill. We just uploaded a new email address or email list. We've uploaded a list of people who have purchased from them in the past. We've got website traffic. So we've got people who have visited in the last 180 days that I have to work with here. So you can see that's there. And we've got Instagram engagers, we've got Facebook engagers. So a lot of these were already created, but in the meantime, I just want you to decide based off of the current assets that you have, that you're going ahead and you're creating these custom audiences if you never have before, so that you can also launch a retargeting campaign when it is that time. So again, all of that is done through here. And you know, for website traffic, for example, there's so many things you can do. People who visit specific pages, time spent, depending on certain events that they might have triggered. You can go all the way up to 180 days or all the way down to 7. We're going to get a lot more into the nuances of retargeting after we launch these first campaigns. But I just want you to go ahead and start thinking about who you do want to retarget if you have assets to work with for re-engagement and monetization. So awesome, guys. That is pretty much it for this. I'm sorry we didn't get to the Be Friendly example, but I will definitely shoot a video for you guys. So just a reminder, next week we've got ad copy, the following ad creatives. By the end of that week, you're going to have all of your assets. You're going to have your targeting, your copy written, your creatives made, so that week 8 we can launch. So this will all be about campaign structure, how to set up a campaign. Then in week 9, we'll go more into optimizing, scaling, retargeting, and from there. So your homework is pretty simple. Complete the targeting worksheet. So I really please encourage you guys to take time to sit down and do the research process, answer as many questions on that sheet as possible so that you develop a document of a bunch of really good ideas for your market. Then I want you to go in, follow the steps, and do your interest matching. So see how many interests actually match up, right? And put your numbers here. And then I want you to actually do your selection process and decide you know, how you want to distribute these different interests, which ones you feel are best for your avatar. So that's your homework. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm willing to stick around a little longer, and thank you guys so much for going over. I know these sections or these sessions are really long, but I just want to be able to give you guys as much as I can here. All right, we've got a lot of questions, guys, so I'm going to try to get through as many as possible. Meryl says, I'm curious to see how to research a broader group. Meryl, can you give me an example? I can't think of a much broader group than photographers. That's why it's so important to have a specific avatar so that you really have to dive in here. Omari said, do ad sets have a theme? That's a really good question. So I used to try to theme them, Omari, like this one's blogs, this one's magazines. I don't anymore. I just go by audience size. So if I feel good about an interest, I add interest until I get to an audience size I want and I move on. So great question. The best part is that if one of these interests in an ad set, if it's not working, Facebook is smart enough to know to quit showing ads to people in that interest, and they will optimize more. Say that here, outdoor photographer just really isn't working for some reason, but these are. Facebook will know to shift focus in the optimization process there. Meryl says, just like the eco-conscious people. So the eco-conscious people, yeah, that's a broad market too. They don't have as many tools, Meryl, but they have a lot more content, right? So someone that cares about the environment, right? So let's go into this person a little bit, this eco-conscious person. They probably care about climate change. They probably care about recycling, right? So for a market like this, I would probably start writing down a bunch of those words, right? They care about GMOs. So there aren't as many tools, but there actually are, because there are entire brands around eco-friendly, skincare like Ezra, eco-friendly clothing, eco-friendly house cleaning products, right? There are stores just committed to this, like Whole Foods. There might be apps that people are using to become more conscious about recycling and maybe electricity usage, maybe not software. Events, heck yeah, there are a ton of events around saving the planet, right? There are lots of groups too. I would just need to do searches for, top eco friendly clothing brands, right? I mean, that's a whole rabbit hole here. Yeah, top eco friendly, cleaning brands, right? Oh my God, Myers, there's so much. You get a few good ones, you pop those into Audience Insights, and you're off to the races. So, and especially blogs, books, magazines, TV shows, movies for these people, documentaries that they're watching, influencers that are, who's out there educating people about what's happening to our planet. Um, that is how I would do that, Meryl. I'll shoot a video. So even no matter how broad we think the market is, or bloggers are super easy. Bloggers are, what tools do they use? They use all types of SEO tools. They use WordPress. They follow other bloggers. They follow other marketers. They attend Content Marketing World. I used to target the crap out of that audience. Okay, let's see. Kara says, can you just reinstate the sweep spot for an audience size when stacking these interests? Yeah, 500,000 to 7 million, going up to 10 million though, not a big deal. Amy says, thank you, such a good idea to create a list from the start. I spend so much time researching when I need a new audience. It will save tons of time having a list for sure. And it just makes you really go deep into it, Amy. There's a lot of things that you just never would find if you didn't go through this process. All right. All right, guys, looks like we've got a few more questions. This has been the most helpful session yet. Good, I'm glad. We're building stuff now, so this is exciting. How would you outsource some of these tasks to other team members, or do you recommend doing this ourselves? Absolutely, please do it yourself. And then once you get it down, you can then pass this off to someone else, but definitely do it yourself, please. Does it matter which interests you're combining? Oh yeah, I answered that earlier. Nathan says, if one of the magazines is over 10 million, should we then narrow it, like the example you had with the larger photo interest? Nathan, if it's only 10 million, it will probably, the potential audience size will probably even be smaller for whatever the location that you're targeting within. But even 10 million would be totally fine. Yeah, RTM said, so you put the interests together to help get an audience of specific size, but you aren't concerned which interests you pair together from your list. It's more about the audience size. Exactly, RTM. And especially because I did the research and I know which ones I feel good enough about. And any market, it's like, when we found that Professional Photographer Association, I'm like, holy shit, that's it right there, right? So yeah, definitely more about audience size. Um, let's see. Okay, lots of questions about combining them. I think we answered that. Learning this from you was legit. Omari, you're awesome. And guys, I'll shoot another video too. So each ad set is a different campaign. Patricia, no. There are different ad sets in each campaign. Check out your planning sheet. Alrighty, Stephanie, awesome insight. Molly, greatly appreciated. I'll take a deep dive down the rabbit hole tomorrow. Thank you, dear. Tom says thanks. Ashley says thanks. Ronnie says, how much of the video do they have to watch before you retarget them? I think it's 3 or 10 seconds. But I usually do I think it's 3. I do whatever the smallest amounts that they need to watch, unless for some reason you've run just a ton of video and you would rather make that more specific and do 25 or 50%. That's totally up to you. All righty. Brian said, do these ad sets not compete against each other? Audience overlap. Audience overlap is way less of a thing now on Facebook because their optimization has gotten better. So I definitely do not worry about that at all. What I used to do, which was a complete pain in the ass, is I would go in and I would save each of these ad sets, right? And then I would go in and I would exclude the targeting for one against the others to make sure that there was never any overlap. What it actually did is throttled my campaigns and it never really worked for me. So luckily, Facebook is smart enough for that. So Brian says the audiences in South Africa are far from 7 million. Yeah, Brian, that's why I said earlier, if you're a local business, you're obviously constrained to where you can sell. So if your country does not have the audience sizes that I'm speaking to, just do the best that you can while still keeping it specific. So don't worry. These audience sizes are just my ideal audience sizes. But if you had an audience size of 100K or even 50K, and it's really specific, it will still work. All right, guys. All right, I answered as many of these as I could. We have a lot that are left over. I'm sorry we couldn't get to them. Feel free to ask them in the Facebook group. I'm going to be at a conference the next few days, so I'll try to get to you guys as much as possible. Let's see. Forrest says 500K to 7 million is a huge range. Yeah, but it gives Facebook enough to work with. How do you know how many interests to combine? Well, it depends on their audience size. So I could have 40 interests, but they're all really small, right? Or I could have one interest, right? But it's just really big. So, all righty. What's the smallest to work with? I mean, you can go as small as 50 people on a custom audience, Kara. It just really depends. So I definitely, if it's cold traffic and I'm not restricted by location, I would try really hard not to go below 100K for sure. You're welcome, my dear. All right, anything last minute? Sorry we didn't get to the other example, but this was really fun, guys. I love this. And I will shoot you guys another video by next Wednesday with the bee friendly examples. So this week, just it's time to go into the mind of both of your avatars and basically create your targeting for all of the campaigns that you laid out last week, whether it's cold traffic or whether it's retargeting. So David said, do you ever flex audience? So what he's talking about here is I could do this and say, but they must also match, photography, right? So it's people that are in this photography interest, but also, like all of these other people. I use it sometimes if there's just a real reason to, but I just don't really find the need for it a lot, because this target research I'm doing is so specific. If I was a bit lazier and just wanted to throw some things in, I would probably use it like, must like, digital camera and photography, right? But this, I would much rather go with a campaign like this, where we really know our people are hanging out there, than something a bit broader here, even though our audience size is nice. So definitely use it if you want. I just don't use it always. Kara said, I'll always exclude vegans, PETA, because they hate your ads. Yeah, Kara, if there is an audience you need to exclude, that's a good use case of it. But thank you guys so much for the great feedback on this. It makes me feel good when you learn, and keeps me going to creating this content and making this course. So yeah, feel free to reach out in the Facebook group. Next week's feedback call, so I've been saying it's on Monday. We're actually going to need to move it till Tuesday. We'll remind you via email. So it will be the same time as we always have our calls, but it's going to be on Tuesday instead of Monday. I have a conflict that I can't move. So you guys get an extra day to do your homework. And then definitely show up on that call. Tell me what you figured out, or ask me questions about your market. I'll do research live and tell you exactly what I would be doing. Okay, guys, thank you so much. Again, thanks for the great feedback, and we will talk next Tuesday. See you guys later.